Hello and welcome back to ADA Pulse, the community-funded news channel, keeping you up to date with all the news and emerging projects that are in and around the Cardano ecosystem. Now remember, because we're community-funded, there is no coin shilling, no paid promotion, and we don't really even discuss token price. We're just here to disseminate information and deliver it to you in a way that's easy for you to understand. So, today we are discussing Djed, a stable coin in Cardano, and this is going to be a real deep dive, and we're going to do it in two parts. Today we will be discussing the Djed protocol, whereas part two is where we analyze its operation with practical examples and compare it with other stable coins. And this is all the hard work of our veteran writer LiberLion, who's been with the ADA Pulse team for quite a long time now. Now, do remember to click the like button, hit subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can get notified as soon as we got content available. And do share it far and wide, because we are an educational platform and we want to reach as many people as possible. Now, I'm Josh from ATM Stakepool, your presenter for today. Let's just crack straight on with this. Now, Djed, spelled D-J-E-D, pronounce it how you like, it's Djed to me, is the stablecoin developed by IOG. Now, if I didn't need to tell you, IOG is the company that created the Cardano blockchain. Now, IOG described Djed as this: an algorithmic stablecoin protocol that behaves like an autonomous bank that buys and sells stablecoins for a price in a range that is linked to a target price. Now, if we rewind back to the 1970s. This is when the United States government decided to abandon the gold standard, which basically meant you couldn't convert your paper money to gold. And then a lot of countries followed suit. So like the UK, for example, did the same with silver. So that means that the current fiat currencies are not obviously 100% backed by gold or silver or whatever. So this disconnection basically means that banks can then increase with inflation or reduce the amount of money in circulation. Now, fiat money, as we call it, is obviously the most stable purchasing power in developed countries at least, but that's only in the short term, because as we talk about inflation, you lose money in the long term. So with an accumulated inflation, so the dollar from the year 2000 was inflated by 72.89%. And so a dollar today only buys like 57.8% of what it could buy in the year 2000. Just to show I'm not making this up, here's the article that goes through that in a whole lot more detail. And I'll leave a link in the description below if you really want to dig deep into that. And that is from a developed country. Now let's look at what the developing countries are going through. I mean, can you imagine 1,000% annual inflation? I mean, that is some crazy numbers. And if you check this article, you can see some of the countries that have experienced that. So here you've got Hungary, Zimbabwe, the former Yugoslavia. I mean, it's crazy. So to mostly everyone, fiat currencies are considered stable, but mainly in the more developed countries, obviously. But that's, our guess, is mainly because of the lack of volatility. Although, as we just laid out, they all do depreciate over time. Now, cryptocurrencies have a lot of volatility, which prevents them from being able to use them as a unit of measurement for trade, because they just don't sit still. So that's where stable coins come in. And you can read more about it in an article LiberLion did. I'll leave it in the description below. Now, there are projects of stablecoins already on Cardano, so you can check out this list. Love the fact that Hosky tokens there pegged to 0, so you can't get more stable than that. Cardano is still showing on the list, but you can ignore that. They're definitely not on the list anymore. There is an important development for the ecosystem underway, so check this out. As Emurgo introduces first USD-backed stablecoin for the Cardano ecosystem. So also check this out, because obviously we can't talk about stablecoins without mentioning Cardano's first stablecoin. So this article will be in the description below if you want to dig into iUSD. What is Djed? Well, the name itself, to start with, originates from a pillar shape, Djed, which symbolises stability. It's probably one of the most reproduced symbols in Egyptian mythology, and it represents the spine of the god Osiris. Now, Djed is a stable, algorithmic, and over-guaranteed currency to maintain like a cushion against possible sharp fluctuations in reserve prices, as we've seen before with the lunar collapse. That's where they failed. So you will have proof of reserve on chain, which will transparently show its circulating supply and how many ADA are in the reserve. Now, as you can see here, the Djed public testnet is live. Now, the Cardano mainnet stablecoin of Djed is scheduled to launch in January 2023, which is really not that far away. But this is following a successful full audit. Now, about this audit, we were unable to find any published audit report. And as of the date of the publication, LiberLion did reach out, as you can see, through Twitter to the Djed team and hasn't had a response yet. Now, getting back to it, the Djed protocol will work like a central bank, but without a central bank issuer, since it will be the protocol that controls the amount of coins in circulation, and that will be according to their reserves through a decentralized algorithm, and so thus keeping, the value stable. So, unlike other problems that have come into the past, there's no intermediary that can misuse the deposits. Now, IOG has left Coty in charge of developing like the user interface system, and they will operate the integration between users and, with the smart contracts for the stablecoin. But Coty, check out this list. Coty has partnered with companies, developers, and other players who wish to mint the stablecoin. Now, after the launch on mainnet, Djed will then be integrated with the key partners and dexes selected from the 40 signed partnership. Now, Coty has its own consensus algorithm. It's not proof of work, it's not proof of stake, it is proof of trust, or POT. So at the core of Coty's infrastructure lies the trust chain, which is a proprietary consensus algorithm based on machine learning. So the trust chain lies on a multi-DAG, that's a directed acyclic graph data structure, which works in tandem to drive up scalability. So we're talking, we'll be processing over 100,000 transactions per second. So DAG is the most suitable infrastructure for payments due to obviously that scalability and low transaction cost. Now, if you want to read more, here, check out this article. It's a great article, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to find out more about Coty. Now, the Djed algorithm won't be backed by fiat currencies like Tether is, or USDC, or USDA, Emurgo's new stablecoin. It will be backed by ADA. Now, as we said at the beginning of this video, the gold standard as a reserve has been out of use since the 70s. But let's see how Djed revives the reserve standard model with its own algorithm. How does the protocol work? With the reserve pattern model, the Djed algorithm will maintain the value of stablecoin at 1 USD. So users will be able to mint Djed by depositing ADA into reserves and then get their deposit back by the returning Djed at the quoted value of the ADA in USD at the time of the exchange. So, for example, if the market value of ADA increases to 2 USD, the user will receive 0.5 ADA for 1 Djed. The Djed minting and burning process will be decentralized and fully automated. So Djed will be minted when ADA enters the reserve and will be burned when ADA leaves. But ADA will obviously never be burned. Instead, it will be locked in a smart contract. So in this reserve game, there will be the Shen currency, which will play quite a key role in absorbing the volatility of the ADA price and ensure that there are always sufficient reserves. Now, ADA will be the true reserve, and Shen, also as the reserve currency, will be an intermediate asset to cushion ADA price swings. So faced with a very large drop in ADA price, Djed would be left without reserves and wouldn't be able to maintain parity with the USD. So Shen will be minted at the initial value of 1 ADA. The algorithm will redeem Shen by burning them, essentially, and returning the ADA, only if the ratio with Djed is greater than 400%, and will not be able to mint new Shens if that ratio is greater than 800%. This is why it's said that Djed will be over guaranteed, because for every Djed minted, there will be between like 4 and 8 Shens in reserves. So this considerably decreases the risk of Djed losing parity with the USD. Now, the Djed protocol model has 3 different types of fees that are at play here. So check this out. You have your minting fees, where you mint the tokens. You have your burning fees, which is where you're burning things like Shen or whatever. And your operational fees, where you're transferring. Now, if you check this image here, both Djed and Shen minting and burning fees will be collected in ADA and allocated to the reserve pool, which will also increase the reserve ratio. Shen holders will be able to redeem their rewards by burning their Shen. Operational fees for minting and burning Djed are also paid in ADA, and then, as you can see, converted into Coty coin periodically, and they will then be streamlined into the Coty treasury. Now, the protocol actually supports 2 versions of Djed, so check these out. First, you have Djed Minimal. Now, this version is designed to be as simple, intuitive, and direct as possible without compromising stability. It's currently implemented on Emurgo blockchain as Sigma USD. Then we have Extended Djed. This more complex version offers some additional benefits, using a continuous pricing model and dynamic commissions to further incentivize the reserve ratio at an optimum level. Now, the reason for buying Shen is to earn ADA profit from the Djed buyers. So people who buy Djed take out loans that pay back ADA to the Shen holders, basically to remove the volatility of ADA. So as long as they're holding Djed, it's completely stable. Now, Djed holders pay fees to mint them, and so they lose the opportunity to earn on the rising price of ADA, and plus they do not collect delegation rewards from a stake pool either, but they are covered from the ADA price drops and being able to return the Djeds at such time to get more ADA. Final words. So this stablecoin has 3 different uses. So you can allow ADA holders to trade with a stablecoin value, or to keep the value of their funds stable in the long term, or to speculate by arbitrating between ADA and Djed. So basically buying Djed on the ADA price drop and then selling the stablecoin on the rise. But now investors actually have a new financial tool in the protocol. So being able to provide a reservation service with the investment of their ADA in the purchase of Shen, in exchange for an undetermined variable return. And here, the risk is not being able to dispose of their ADA in a given moment because the reserves are less than 400% of the currency and they couldn't change their Shen. There is also the lower risk for the Djed holders who, given an extreme case of a price drop in ADA, won't be able to exchange the stable coin in the protocol, and they'll have to wait for the improvement or an increase in reserves. But like I said, the risk is quite low, since minting Shen is most convenient when the price of ADA is low. Djed was specially designed for real use in trading, but the speculative financial component is always going to be present. And only a good protocol design can sustain that success over time. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of this article. So do remember to click the like button, hit subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can get notified as soon as we've got content available. Because as we'll be coming out with part 2, you will understand Djed a lot better. And we'll be giving you real practical examples. And you will really see, Djed's virtues, especially compared to other stablecoins. So I'm Josh from ATM Stake Pool, your presenter for AdaPulse. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.